Hi everyone, as Chantel mentioned, I'm the editor-in-chief of Flair. My name is Charlotte. If you're not following us already, you can find us on social at flair.com. That's all spelled out. And I'm thrilled to be guest hosting today's Toronto Life Fireside chat with Graydon Moffat. Graydon, as Chantel mentioned, is the founder of Graydon Skincare, a beauty company here in Toronto, and a Flair favorite. She has a background in holistic wellness, and she is the first ever Toronto Life resident beauty advisor. So we're really excited to get to know her a little bit better today. And Graydon, I was hoping you could start off by sharing with us a little bit about what led you to start your own business in the skincare space.
Yes, well, it's been an unusual journey for me. Little did I know that I would eventually be the founder of a superfood skincare brand, but it all started when I moved to LA, actually to go to art school. And that's where I got involved in the wellness world. Southern California is great for that. So I really started practicing yoga, and I tweaked my background in sort of French pastry to become a vegan chef as I was having some health challenges myself. And then I started formulating foods and recipes with superfoods. And that's really when I had my aha moment, as I was working with an esthetician there and making superfood skincare masks. And we were just seeing what great results, like the actual bioavailability that superfood extracts and combinations have on your skin. And that was really the start for me.
I'm so interested by your mention of French pastries, because I think that makes my stomach rumble a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a bit on what your academic and training background was prior to moving into the skincare space?
Of course. Well, I should mention that as a child, I actually was lucky to live in Paris, and that's where I really got connected to, farm to table, and then eventually farm to skin. That je ne sais quoi about French women, and it's really their skin shining through. So that's not my academic background, but that was a real driving force looking back in retrospect. I have a women's studies degree from U of T, so I have a bit of an activist background, and I've always been interested in women's rights and equality, but really got involved in fine art. And as I mentioned earlier, that's what led me to Southern California, where I went to design school there. But it was really when I really feel like I found myself when I actually became a certified yoga instructor. And it's really a combination of design skills, creating goodness in this world, and also just working with the alchemy of food that really got me into making products themselves. Of course, I eventually had to turn my home-based lab into and get a proper laboratory and a chemist to work alongside me. But to this day, every single product literally comes from my blender in the kitchen, working with whatever superfoods, and we have many of them in our collection, and just turning them into something that's really fantastic for your skin. That's truly where the inspiration comes from.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what some of those big challenges were in the early days of getting your business up and running?
There were many. I was teaching yoga for a long time in Toronto, and I loved that. And I had a great following of women, and I realized that really what I was teaching back then, 10 plus years ago, I was teaching women to take care of themselves before self-care was actually a hashtag and a trending thing. And then yoga became much more mainstream, and so there was a lot more competition, and it became a little bit more challenging to be self-supportive. And as does happen, people have personal struggles. I was married, and then I became not married, and I'll spare you the details, but that's always a really challenging transition. And then I was a single parent with a young child, trying to do the juggle and really thinking, gosh, how am I going do this. Like, I don't know if I can be that person doing downward dogs, you know, teaching 5 classes a day, 7 days a week is exhausting. So as much as I loved yoga, I was facing my own personal burnout and challenges. And then I had people asking me like, oh, can I have a bottle of that cream that you made that we put on us in class? And I really thought like, wow, I wonder if there's something about actually trying to scale a little skincare business. And there's a lot of haters out there, like even well-meaning family members are like, come on, like you don't want to do that. Like that's crazy. How are you ever going to really make a life for yourself? So that was a huge challenge, just the self-doubt, and actually trying to just fund the business. And I started the business with my father, who was a chartered accountant, and he was a huge supporter in my life. And he just passed away last month. So that was a huge struggle for me, but really without his help, I wouldn't be here. And it sounds like such a cliche, but if you truly believe in what you're doing and you are willing to put in the hours, and I mean, I'm talking like days, months, years of work every single day to really connect with your vision, it can become possible. But no, it has not been a piece of cake, but I am at a point now where I have a wonderful team of people supporting me. And I also think the world is different. Like when I started making products 10 years ago, people are prioritizing their health, and they are seeing that the topical application of skincare products impacts you just as much as that kale Caesar salad or that green smoothie that you're having, or just people are prioritizing wellness and self-care. And it couldn't be more relevant than what we're going through with COVID at the moment. So I really do feel like I have found my path, but it wasn't a path that was handed to me on a silver platter. It's been a journey, but a grateful one.
Yeah. And it sounds like you said, a lot of what you went through is probably a lot of what many people, women especially, are relating to now, with having to balance parenthood and a career. And even if you're in a long-term career, it probably feels a lot like a startup for many parents now, just finding that balance. So it's super useful advice. I think you kind of touched on this already, maybe with sort of realizing that there were people in your yoga classes that were interested in these products. But I'm curious to hear, on the flip side of those challenges, what were some of the sort of big milestones where you realized like, oh, this is starting to get some traction. Like, I think we're onto something. I think this could really be my full-time business.
Yeah, well, we are lucky to work with some wonderful retailers in Canada, but a very interesting retailer in the States is Credo Beauty, and they are really like the Sephora of green beauty. So we were very grateful when we got a knock on the door from them. That was a moment of like, okay, I must be doing something right. People are seeing my vision, and that was a tearful moment. Now it's not like that was working with them as a slam dunk, but it was great affirmation. And also when testimonials and reviews come in, of course, completely unsolicited, and people are showing you before and after photos and actually saying, you know, this cleared up and my dermatologist just couldn't help me. Like that is almost better than a paycheck. I haven't really gotten to giving myself a paycheck yet. Speaking of that, it takes a lot to grow a business, and certainly just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm almost like having an emotional teary moment just talking about that. But that was actually just working with Toronto Life and you, like this is in itself a huge milestone moment, having the ability to broadcast what we do and to really hopefully make a difference in the lives of others. My motto and my mantra is to serve up good skin days every day. And I eventually want to roll that out to, you know, faces all around the world. But it's a pinch me moment when Toronto Life asked me to be their resident beauty expert. And I'm here to answer questions that anybody may have, by the way. So please ping us. I should also mention, sorry, I don't mean to be a camera hog. here, but I'm at the Broadview Hotel today, and I'm sorry to say, this is not my personal living room or my bedroom, but I live close to the Broadview Hotel, and we partnered with them. I actually supply the amenities in the hotel, and I'm just really happy to be here. I did a girls' weekend recently here. They have a girls' weekend special, and we supply a special gift, and it's very safe. It's socially distanced, and I just wanted to call them out for being a great supporter and also a wonderful local business in Toronto. We have so many good things going on in Toronto. So thank you, Broadview.
That's so nice. It's always nice to hear about local businesses partnering with each other and hearing about a hotel bringing in a local skincare line instead of, some of the bigger ones. It's great.
Thanks.
Also looks beautiful there, and the thought of a girls' weekend sounds like heaven right now.
And the rooftop bar is open, and you get delicious tapas meals, and it's while the weather is good like this, it's a wonderful. If you don't have a balcony or a backyard, I highly recommend saying hello. Yeah.
So you mentioned a bit about your mantra. How does that sort of business philosophy allow you to stand out, do you think, amongst other competitors who are in this space?
Sure. Well, since my background is culinary, I really think about feeding people. That is what gets me up in the morning. Like, I am always in my kitchen working. So I really believe in nourishing the skin from the outside in. And I think a real point of difference with what we do is we work with superfoods, and there's actually clinically proven superfood actives. And that's demonstrative of a real shift in what ingredient suppliers are now coming up with. Because although we've worked with many great farmers, and I do believe in the farm to table and farm to face movement, if you don't have the clinical data, it's really hard to say that this particular ingredient or this particular product will have a palpable effect, noticeable effect on your skin. So the fact that there really are botanical retinols, hyaluronic acid, peptides, probiotics, vitamins, like all of the mainstream conventional, I hate to use the word, but anti-aging ingredients are now becoming available in plant-based forms. And we're very particular about our ingredient curation. But for example, I'll just use vitamin C. Like, vitamin C is often a synthetic ingredient. And by the way, I'm not dissing synthetics. I want to think there's lots of room in the playground for many different brands to have great products. But moringa is a great superfood, and it's incredibly high in vitamin C, and its topical application is very well proven. And one of the things I like about moringa, vitamin C derived extracts, is that it plays nice with retinol. And usually retinol and vitamin C don't go well together because there's redness and irritation and photosensitivity. And our retinol also comes from two plant-based sources. So I really think that maybe this is where you're going. I'm just kind of ripping here, but plant-based products, they're not just like warm and fuzzy, feel good for you. They're actually high performing. You just have to be very careful that you curate the proper clinically proven versions of them. They're certainly not less expensive. Like the ceramide that we source it was like, $20,000 for a liter, literally my cost. So that translates into our skincare products, but what we're getting clinically proven results and before and after pictures so that we can really mindfully formulate our products to deliver results. And I think that that's where we can serve both the conventional beauty customer and the green beauty customer who is really worried about toxicity and things like that. That's not our main point of difference. We really want to focus on performance.
Yeah, I think that brings me to an interesting question that we talk about a lot at Flair, and there are just so many myths around quote unquote natural or green skincare. What's sort of one thing you wish everyone would know about it that maybe they don't know? And maybe you can talk a little bit about maybe a myth or two that you just wish people would stop believing about it.
Well, it really depends on the brand. Like there are some brands out there who allege that they're really clean and they're not. And then there's it I would just, I'm not really directly answering your question, I apologize, but I would just encourage people who actually care about their products is to actually look at the website and look at the ingredient list and see what the descriptions are, because if somebody's trying to cover up their full ingredient list and they make it very difficult for you to find, then you can kind of do the math yourself and realize, okay, maybe I'm not getting what I want. I mean, just there's green beauty, there's clean beauty, there's blue beauty, there's conventional beauty. There's a lot of different beauty sort of genres at the moment. And it's in this process of percolating. And I think I have this vision that even though we're going through this period of transformation, in a few years, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10, there will just be the word beauty. And the green beauty brands will have really amplified their efficacy, and the legacy brands that are trying really hard to, they will have shifted their ingredient lists and really cleaned them up. So there'll be an even playing field for everybody, and there won't be this divisiveness. Like, I think there's room for lots of brands to coexist well together and really do a good job, or whoever their customer is.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're starting to see that shift in mainstream beauty already, and it's really nice. Thinking about, I think I started to get into sort of green beauty about 10 years ago, and there was just very few products on the market at that time that you could even consider. So it's nice to have that abundance now, for sure.
Yeah. And there's one thing about, like, I think I can only really speak for my segment, which is green beauty and clean beauty. There's a lot of respect the founders have for each other. Like, we are technically competitors, but it's just become such a cliche, but the rising tide lifts all boats. As we support each other, then we all grow together. And we, at the end of the day, I mean, we are a mission-based business. I want people to feel good about how they feel and how they look. And if that is our overall vision, then everybody should be happy, especially our customers. We do this for our customers.
Have you noticed a big shift in terms of what your customers want, or even how you're delivering that to your customers during the pandemic? I know personally, I've noticed a lot more interest in the beauty space because of people staying home and maybe prioritizing self-care. Did you find that shift impacted you at all?
Well, yes. We've realized that we need to do a better job amplifying what our products do. I think that we have been a little myopic and just presume that everybody has all the details on all of the eccentricities of our great actives, like I mentioned, the ceramides, et cetera, et cetera. So what we've done is we've hired, the word isn't even hired, like we've aligned with a holistic skin coach who is a really old friend. I shouldn't say old, that's a terrible word, longtime friend. Ingrid, she'll be here later today. Ingrid, if you're on this call, tuning in, you can give a little wave. And I met Ingrid years ago, and she's a holistic esthetician, but she's also a life coach, a relationship coach, a nutritionist. And so people can now have a live chat or a session with Ingrid. We can do a much deeper dive. And that way we can actually not just talk more about our products. It's not just a salesy thing, to actually help people choose what is the best choice for themselves. Like, maybe they need to change the way they eat. Maybe they need to shift this or that. So it's a bit of a pun, but we are taking a more holistic approach to that. And that's how we have tried to up our game within pandemic life, is just to do a better job communicating and serving people's needs, solving their skin problems. Everybody has a completely unique base and constitution, so we try to customize in that respect.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What's next for Graydon Skincare? Any big new product launches or innovations coming out?
Well, Yes, actually, there's two, and one of them is launching today. In fact, this is its debut. So even though hand sanitizer might seem ubiquitous these days, we are launching our own hand sanitizer. So here it is, and it is a really cool hand sanitizer. It's not a thick gel; it's quite liquidy. It smells delicious, so it's not unscented. It has a nice citrus nose. It's incredibly nourishing and moisturizing. So what's different about it, it's actually formulated with glacial clay. So we work with a manufacturer who produces this for us. And yes, it is Health Canada and FDA approved. That's important to know. But the key ingredient is glacial clay and glacial water, which is very mineral rich. So when you actually apply glacial clay and ocean water, you are literally nourishing your hands with minerals, and that really helps them to stay moist. And there's also calendula, and so it's very soothing, and so it's not your typical, oh my God, my skin's gonna crack product. So that we're really excited to have this, and we are giving away a free bottle of hand sanitizer with every order until we run out of product. So at the moment, we can't get any more bottles. There is a bit of a supply chain issue, but we've got a few thousand bottles, and we'll be making it in liter-sized bottles too. So then you can actually buy a large bottle. Yeah, we're also launching a really cool mask, probably in 2021. And it's a really rich acid mask. So a lot of acid masks are they're gel or they're clay, but there's nothing that's actually oil based that is highly moisturizing. And it will target like dark spots. I got a little dark spot here, and I've been using a prototype, and the dark spot is actually shifted, and we are going to do clinical trials on that one. So that is something to definitely look out for. And I should have brought a prototype with packaging, but it's in a jar, and then there's a little pod in the jar that you can pop out. So the pod is made from plastic, but it's a PCR plastic. So it's, post consumer recycled plastic. So it's a great sustainable message and functionality. And oh my gosh, we'll get you a jar to try. It is such an enjoyable experience. It's addictive. Like, I actually want to mask like twice a day. And it's the type of mask that you can't overuse because it's quite gentle. So that is coming, and every brand will probably say, oh, it's a game changer, but this really is a game changer. And we're missing a mask in our portfolio. So stay tuned. Lots of good stuff to come in 2021 for sure.
I love a more liquidy hand sani, and especially one that doesn't smell like cough syrup. So that's
no. It's not an alcohol-y smell either. But I showed this to my sister, and she's like, time for a cocktail. This is like a vodka tonic with like a big wedge of lemon. Not that I'm promoting drinking, but yeah, it's a really uplifting, nice, crisp aroma. Yeah.
So one of the other big things in all of our lives now are masks, and along with that, a lot of us are dealing with maskne. Do you have any care tips for people who are finding they're getting breakouts from wearing a mask every day?
I do. I find that there's maskne, but there's also a lot of people with really, really dry skin. So it really depends on your skin type. Like when I wear a mask, my skin is just so parched afterwards. It's ridiculous. So it really comes down to, I think, a great cleansing routine. So cleanse with a nice creamy cleanser, or do a double cleanse with foam and a creamy cleanser. That's really helpful. And then you need to hydrate your skin with both a water-based and oil-based hydration. So I'm going to use an example of, these are our two serums. And some of you might have heard of our full moon serum, which is really our hero, or I like to say heroin product. And it's 7 different actives in it, from peptides, retinol, hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, malachite. So it's a water-based, very light gel, so incredibly hydrating to actually for parched skin. But then we have a superfood serum, which is oil-based with a ton of different superfoods. So this is rich in vitamin C. This is rich in vitamin E. So when you make a little skin smoothie like this, you are creating an emulsion that will really deeply hydrate your skin. So because with maskne, your skin is dehydrated but clogged at the same time. So you need to, after you've cleansed and gotten rid of all the goo and just the residue from wearing the mask, you need to really deeply hydrate, both from an oil-based and a water-based perspective. So you combat the dryness and the dehydration, because those are actually different things. So that would be my recommendation. And just, it so happens that we will be doing a masterclass in a few weeks on maskne, and we will be broadcasting from the Broadview Hotel again. So stay tuned about that, or DM us if you would like more information. We're going to do a deep dive on maskne, not just this 15 seconds of information, if that's helpful.
So helpful. And I imagine by, in a couple of weeks' time, it'll be even worse for a lot of us. So it'll be good timing.
Yeah, the news is not looking so happy these days. So yeah.
So skincare is going to be one of those things that gets us through. And
Yeah.
speaking of which, you touched on dry skin. I know for me personally, and most Canadians, heading into the winter is daunting for that reason, because my skin just becomes an absolute desert. Is there anything you would recommend for most skin types that we can do to sort of transition into a winter skincare routine? Any products or types of products that you would add or change?
For sure. I would highly recommend our Berry Rich cream, and I happen to have a bottle of it here. So the 4 main actives in Berry Rich, there's a vegan probiotic. Probiotics are super important. You probably know this already. Just the whole microbiome is such a big topic these days. But your face has its own microbiome, and so do your eyes. So this is a face and eye cream. It's blue, which is kind of cool, from a blue-green algae, which is an enzyme protein-rich powder that we use. It's truly the superfood of superfoods. There's blueberry seed oil, which really helps to protect your skin from blue light. And there's raw cacao. So this is a powerhouse of a cream. And it's kind of an interesting texture. It's thick, but when you combine it, I'm kind of big on skin smoothies, as I've alluded to. So this is our face food mist, which is silver, zinc, copper, magnesium. So when you make a little smoothie, you really get the best of the richness of the Berry Rich, but I don't know if you can see, it turns into this milky emulsion. So if you just put the moisturizer on itself, like, that'd be fine, but that's almost going to be too rich to many people's faces. And our Berry Rich is a waterless product. So when you add a water-based mist like this, then you are really getting the best of both worlds, so that your skin gets deeply hydrated, and it's the mineral mist that takes the benefits of the probiotics and the algae and the blueberry seed oil deeper into the dermis. So this is a good combination. Whether you want to call it a smoothie or a cocktail, I really think that that's a really great strategy, certainly for our products, but I'd encourage you to use whatever products that you happen to have in your thank you, I'm gonna grab a Kleenex, in your collection. And then when you go through them, then replace your products. Of course, I'm biased, with some Graydon skincare, and really think about what your skin wants to eat. I know it's kind of like a funny concept, but think about, like, what does your skin, what can you put on your skin to serve it? Just like your stomach gets hungry. Like, you don't want to use the very same product all the time. You want to have a diverse diet and eat the full colors, of the rainbow. So feeding your skin with superfoods is a really good strategy. And I'm biased, but I really think you will feel and notice the difference.
That's great. So I think we can move over to some questions from our audience now. And actually, one of them is a very good segue, because she's asking specifically about superfoods.
Okay.
Question said, I read on your website that your products are formulated with clinically proven superfood ingredients. What are some of your favorite superfoods?
Oh, there's so many. Well, I was just mentioning the blue algae called Blue Magic. That is probably my most favorite superfood, because as somebody who really has mostly a plant-based diet, I really want to nurse myself with a lot of great protein. So it's a great, your skin needs protein too. So the Blue Magic is one of my favorite superfoods. Botanical retinols are so important these days. Everybody's probably heard about bakuchiol, but we use it's called mothbean, which sounds scary because when I first heard about it, I was like, I hope they're not talking about like the moths that fly around. But you can actually go to Little India and you can find moth beans. They're like a little bit larger than a lentil, and there's an extract that comes from them, which it's like I can share the clinicals with you offline if you wish, but it has such similar efficacy to traditional retinol, but without the side effects. So I love our botanical retinols. I mentioned moringa earlier. It's an incredible superfood. Our hyaluronic acid comes from senna. Our peptides come from hibiscus. And of course, there's the more obvious ones like turmeric and saffron and oat oil, goji berries and prickly pear. Like our superfood serum, if you're a superfood geek, just look at the ingredient list in our superfood serum. It's almost like every product is like a smoothie or a smoothie bowl or a salad dressing unto itself. But those are some of my favorites. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it sounds like the superfood serum is a really good place for people to start if they're interested in this.
Definitely. If you like an oil-based serum. If not, then definitely go for the full moon, which is hydrophilic. Yeah.
So we have another question that is specific to your products, and that is, should we use moisturizer under the face glow?
That's optional. Of course, like if you want to use a moisturizer and have a layering effect, that's a lovely experience if you have the time for it. But face glow is a superstar. It will totally moisturize your skin. It also doubles as a primer, and then you can use it on top as an illuminator. So that is really my daily go-to in terms of a morning routine. I cleanse my face, I use my konjac bamboo charcoal sponge, and then I put face glow on and I go walk my dog. And if I've got a Zoom meeting later on, maybe I'll do a little touch up or layer a little bit over. But face glow is incredible to get you out the door. If you are going out the door, not as many people are these days, but even if you're walking your dog and you run into your neighbors, it's nice to feel like just very subtly put together. So it really depends, but I would always recommend mixing any products, including face glow, either with a drop of our full moon serum or a mist of face food. This is super hydrating and will totally wake you up.
Great. Yeah. You actually answered 1.5 of our audience questions actually in there. So someone had asked about your morning and evening skincare routine. So you just talked about your morning routine. Can you tell us a bit about your evening skincare routine?
I sure can. I'm really a firm believer that if you don't have a good cleansing routine, it's really hard to expect your skin to perform for you. So I don't have my cleansers right in front of me right now, but we have a creamy aloe milk cleanser and we have a foaming cleanser called Face Foam. So the ultimate experience, the cleansing experience for me is to actually do a pump of both, and then you get like a creamy foam. Like it's a really neat texture. I'm into textures. So I'll wash my face with that and then our sponge. And then I will usually make a skin cocktail for myself. So in the evening, I call them cocktails. In the morning, I call them smoothies. So we've actually touched already on this a fair bit. One of my favorite smoothies is actually all of these products that, well, I've got them on the table underneath here. But I can just do another quick little, so one little pump of Berry Rich, one little pump of, or drop rather, of superfood for just a bit of richness, a few extra drops of Full Moon for all the actives, and a generous spritz of face food. And this in itself, after cleansing, is what I put on everywhere. And it's probably looks a little bit similar to what you saw earlier. Like the blueness actually disappears. It's not runny anymore. And all over my face, neck, décolleté, and then anything that I have left over, of course, on my hands. And I I press it in, but then I also have like a sweeping up technique. It's an effleurage technique, which is a classic French technique. Making sure I pay a little bit of attention to my lips and even inside my nostrils. And because the Berry-Rich is appropriate as an eye cream, really focusing on the eye area as well. Like I even go like smooth right over my eyelashes because you want your eyelashes to grow as well. And the Superfood serum is great for your eyelashes. Fun fact. Yeah.
Oh, that's great to know.
Yeah.
So Sarah in the chat is asking, what's the best product you have for dry skin? Would that be the Berry-Rich?
The Berry-Rich is really good. I mean, I if it was summer and spring, I'd be focusing on different products. Like they're all hydrating, and it really depends on really what your skin type is and what season you have. So I am sort of fully pitching Berry-Rich because I think it's so topical for this time of the year. That was a funny pun. We also have another fairly rich cream called the Putty, and the Putty is good for big red, dry, irritated skin. So if you have rosacea or eczema, the Putty is super helpful for that, and it's rich without being too. It's not pasty. So it really depends what you think your skin needs. So maybe I would suggest maybe using Berry-Rich in the daytime, and you could do a mask with a Putty at night, like a nice thick layer. You could even layer it over a muslin cloth or cheesecloth. So if you want, Sarah, I think it was Sarah who's asking, DM us and we can give you lots of, customized tips. And that's where booking a skin consult with my colleague Ingrid, who I mentioned earlier, she can help you with this so that she can actually customize a routine, which, we don't have 20 minutes to talk specifically about your particular needs as much as I would like to. And trust me, I could go on and on. But I think those would be two really good options for you.
Yeah. Great. Alana, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, in the chat would like to know, what recommendations do you have for switching skincare with changing seasons?
Well, maybe don't go cold turkey. Like, do a gradual transition. Maybe change one thing at a time, because some people have very sensitive skin and your skin doesn't like to be shocked. So I think keeping the hydration up with any change of season from warm to cold or cold to warm is really important. So face food is your best friend for this. You can literally keep this in your handbag or in the fridge or in the powder room, and you can just mist it on topically. So even though some people use it as a toner after cleansing, what it is, it's really like a hydration booster. In fact, I'll mist myself right now. You can never have. It's just, it wakes you up like without the jitters of a cup of coffee. And because the minerals in it are so small, so like they're ionic minerals, they literally seep right into your skin. There's a very subtle aroma to face food. It's tiny hint of vanilla and a bit of mint. It's very yummy without being cloying. It's good addiction to have. So, hope that answered the question.
It looks like you can spray that over your makeup and it's not going to disrupt your makeup at all?
No, you're totally good. I often use it in the roots of my hair because minerals and, it is said that when people, I do have some gray hair. It really helps to remineralize your hair because there's a correlation with loss of minerals and hair color as you age. Sorry to say. Yeah, but so important to eat a mineral-rich diet, which actually gets me ripping on magnesium, another one of my favorite superfoods. So we just aren't, like the organic carrot that you get from your farmer's market or Whole Foods is not the carrot your grandmother was eating how many years ago, however old your grandmother is. And so that means the minerals in the soil aren't the same. And so we really need to supplement. You should take supplements, like talk to your naturopath or your holistic nutritionist, but also putting them on your skin is incredibly important. So you are actually getting the topical benefits of the magnesium going into your skin. And magnesium can help a host of different skin conditions, from redness, eczema, rosacea, psoriasis. It's powerful, but in a very gentle, natural way. Can you tell I get a little bit passionate? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be shouting at you there.
To the right people.
Yeah.
We're all obsessed with skincare, so it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Alana had another question. What inspires the products and product innovations?
You know, often when I'm cooking with, so I'm not so much doing, I went through a period of, you know, having more of a keto-ish diet. And now I'm doing more Whole30, like plant-based. But that started with me working with MCT a lot, and just, you know, that's just an example of, I was making keto coffee, like butter coffee. Butter coffee is not as good because it's, you know, if you're vegan, you know, not going to be wanting to use butter. But you looking for dairy alternatives in my own eating style. And then I think about, like, how can this translate into a product? So a story from a while back, I mentioned that I had taught yoga for a long time, and I still do a little bit, but not as much. And a lot of the women who came to my classes, they were having breast issues. Like, it's very common. Even if they didn't, some of them did have breast cancer or were survivors, but they were dealing with lumps in their breasts or tenderness due to PMS or perimenopause. And so I was seeing a naturopath who is also a yoga instructor, and she was, she had like a cancer and breast protocol for yoga, and she kept talking about the power of broccoli. Broccoli sprouts, for example, are very rich in something called sulforaphane. And that's when I had that aha moment of, like, broccoli seed oil. How can I get broccoli seed oil? So broccoli seed oil is in our green cream, which is our double botanical retinol cream. And broccoli seed oil is amazing because it actually helps your lymphatic system. So if you've got puffiness in your face, or if you're dealing with a breast issue, you know, you're thinking about your lymph nodes underneath your arms. So that's where that was the transition from, like, food to how can I actually get something that's a really potent version of this food. So I'm certainly not steaming broccoli and making a broccoli puree. That would be ridiculous. But, like, broccoli extract and cold pressed broccoli seed oil is an incredibly powerful, nutrient-rich ingredient. And then it usually takes quite a while. Like, this mask that we've been working on for over 18 months. I don't know, our chemist might be tuning in. She can attest to that. Her name is Ivy. It's gone through many, many reiterations. So it's not a quick process. Like, so by the time I get the idea for broccoli seed oil, it might be a year or two later that we actually roll out a product with whatever superfood is in it. Because we need to make sure that it is genuinely properly formulated, that it has gone through the proper testing, it's shelf stable, it's all of those things. It takes a lot of energy to brew the product. This is a very different process now than when I was actually working in my kitchen 10 years ago.
Great.
Is that an adequate answer?
I would say so.
Yes.
So. And everyone feel free to follow up in the chat if you have follow-ups, if we didn't quite get at what you were hoping for there. We have another question. This one's from Angelique, and she says, hello, Graydon. I was wondering if you could speak more about the work you do with your chemist. I think it's amazing that you use plant-based ingredients that are clinically proven.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, I did this as long as I could on my own, and then we partnered with a small batch lab, and they were really great, and they helped with shelf stability. But I just realized that there really isn't a playbook. Like, it's not like you can take a course in how to make superfood skincare. So I really needed somebody to take my vision, which is very food-based, obviously, and turn it into something that is really genuinely good for your skin and is bioavailable. And I can only do that with an expert. So that's a very important component to this business is actually going through a long product development exploration process, and it takes a little longer. I think there's so many people who are interested in making skincare these days, especially green beauty, and I think they contact a lab, and the lab will say, oh, we have this base formula, and you can add in what color or flavor or texture that you want, and we'll have a product for you. This is really like making a recipe, and then figuring how to turn the recipe into something that is truly bioavailable. And so it's just a long process, and I think it's worth it because it is. I don't really know any other skincare company that does what we do, and I'm not suggesting that we're extra special. It's just we're just a little bit different. Yeah. So thank you, Angelique. DM us if you would like further elaboration on that.
I want to go back to one of the earlier questions from the audience, which was, I'm looking for skincare with collagen and hyaluronic acid. Are these ingredients found in your products? And it sounds like they are. Maybe you can elaborate on which ones.
Yes, absolutely. So I spoke about the full moon serum earlier. So the hyaluronic acid is from senna. So this is kind of like a funny analogy. But when you think about, I think my colleague is trying to get my attention here. Are we good? Okay, I'm going to ignore them. You guys can come into the camera if you need to. Right. Back to where, so senna, senna is actually a laxative. If you take it, you go to the health food store, go to Shoppers Drug Mart, you can get a senna laxative. Why is it a laxative? Because it actually helps your body to draw water into your colon, which will make you go to the bathroom. That might sound kind of gross, but here's the connection. That senna actually does the same for your skin. So if you want your skin to actually hold water, like you may not want your belly to hold water, but you may want your skin to look plump, right? Everybody wants plump, dewy skin. So the senna actually enables your skin to do that, and it mimics the process of actual traditional, conventional hyaluronic acid, which is animal-based, which usually comes from rooster combs or cow's knees, which is not how I want to get my hyaluronic acid. But isn't it cool that senna will do that for you? And then in terms of the collagen, we've got two forms of collagen in the full moon serum. We get the collagen from the African mahogany tree, and don't worry, totally sustainably sourced, where nobody's cutting down mahogany trees in Africa. So when the bark falls off of the tree, the bark is collected and an extract is made. So when you think about collagen is what actually helps to protect the outer layer of the skin, just like the tree bark, right? So there's a huge connection between, it seems like a coincidence, but it isn't, that collagen, botanical collagen, can come from tree bark. So that's our topical version of collagen. But this is a good example too. Do you see how this is blue? And it's blue from malachite. And malachite is a mineral. It's a semi-precious stone. And malachite happens to be really rich in copper. So if you've ever seen copper eavesdrops, you know those beautiful eavesdrops that turn turquoise? It's the same color, right? And that's because it's copper. It's the copper in the malachite. So malachite is a very interesting mineral. It has a lot of energetic properties. I'm not going to get into anything too woo-woo here. That's it. We can say that for another day. But the fact of the matter is that because it's rich in copper, copper actually enables your skin to produce its own collagen. So this is a double delivery of collagen. There's the topical application of it, but really if you can get your skin to do the work on its own, that's what's important. So yeah. So yes, lots of collagen and hyaluronic acid in the full moon serum. You are in good hands with this product. Can you tell? I'm just a little bit excited to talk about all my ingredients.
Very cool. So I think we've probably got time for one or two more questions. So if anyone has any last questions they were thinking about asking, please feel free to throw them in the chat now. We do have one that came in from our very own Chantel, which is, what have you learned the most about yourself since starting your own business?
Oh, wow. Well, the cliche is believe in yourself, which, you know, it has taken a lot of personal work and years of therapy to do that. But I could have taken a very different career path. I think becoming an entrepreneur, whether it's in skincare or wherever, it takes a lot of guts and chutzpah, and you really do. So that is one thing that I've learned, is to actually stick with my vision of believing in the bioavailability of superfoods, and that's my message. And then one thing that I've also learned is that you can't do it by yourself. As much as I have to believe in myself, I cannot do this on my own. I'm already, a 12-hour day is a short day for me, and I work every day of the week. And I couldn't do that without the support of my team. So I wish that I had brought in people who I could align with earlier, and I just didn't give myself the privilege to believe that I could actually support other people and to be crass, like, pay them. Like, it's not easy to self-fund a business. So I wish that I had believed in myself earlier on, so that I could have surrounded myself with people who could buoy me up. And I'm really lucky to have a great team now, but it's taken me a long way to get there. I want to mention something, is that we are doing a giveaway today. So for people who tuned in, so we have the winner, and I'd like to announce the winner here. I'm going to just show, the winner is, dun, da, 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 Sarah. Yay. Sarah, I think you asked a question. So it pays. It pays to sign up. So these giveaways actually work. So you're going to get a really nice gift package, and we will DM you with the details. So I don't know if our time is up. I'm sensing that it probably is.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes left here.
Yeah. But this was such a dream. So fun, so natural. You totally get to see me as I am. I mean, maybe a nicer backdrop, thanks to the broad view. Yeah, this truly is me and my story, and there really is a Graydon behind the name. It's not just a cool name. A lot of parents are calling their kids Graydon these days, which I'm really like, that's funny. But it really is my name. And this is what we do. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was great to get to know you too better.
Yes, a little bit. Great to hear more about your business. And as I said, we're huge fans at Flair. So lovely to get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. And all of our Toronto Life Insider members are in excellent hands having you as our beauty advisor.
Thank you. And remember, you get a free bottle of hand sanitizer if you order anything from us, like no minimum order quantity. And if you want to try this, Charlotte, oops, I just dropped it, but happy to send you some to try.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
So
well, namaste, everybody. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Everyone.